Tonight, somewhere near you, a dog is probably asleep, maybe curled at the foot of your bed, maybe collapsed dramatically across the couch, maybe pressed against your leg right now, warm and heavy and completely unbothered by the world, and you've never questioned it. Of course, dogs live with us. Of course, they sleep in our homes, ride in our cars, wear rain jackets, and stare at us with an expression that looks embarrassingly close to love. It's completely normal, except it isn't. Not even slightly, because 40,000 years ago, the ancestor of that sleeping animal was hunting in packs across frozen landscapes. It had jaws strong enough to crack bone. It could smell prey from miles away. It ran down elk across open tundra without stopping. It was one of the most efficient predators on Earth, and somehow, impossibly, it ended up on your couch. No human planned this. No ancient tribe sat around a fire and said, "We should invent a loyal companion animal that fetches things." There was no breeding program, no grand design. Dogs weren't created. They happened. And the way they happened is one of the strangest, most quietly extraordinary accidents in the entire history of life on Earth. To understand it, you need to picture the world as it actually was. 30,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in small bands, maybe 20, maybe 50 people. They moved constantly, following herds, tracking seasons, carrying everything they owned. Life was genuinely brutal. Most hunts failed. Winters killed people. A single bad injury could end everything, and at the edge of every camp, just beyond the firelight, wolves waited, not because they wanted to attack. Because humans are extraordinarily messy eaters, even during lean seasons, hunter-gatherer camps left behind scraps, cracked bones, skins, half-eaten carcasses. To a wolf, a human camp was something remarkable. It was a predictable source of calories that required zero hunting. No risk, no injury, just patience and proximity. So wolves started hanging around. But here's the critical part. Not all wolves could do this. Most wolves were too aggressive, too fearful, or too territorial to tolerate the noise and chaos of a human camp. Those wolves stayed in the wilderness. The ones that crept closer were different, calmer, less reactive, slightly more curious than afraid, and those wolves ate better. Better-fed wolves survived longer. Calmer wolves reproduced more. Generation after generation, without a single human making a deliberate choice, wolf populations living near human camps were being quietly filtered. Not by human hands, by their own behavior. The wolves were, in a very real sense, domesticating themselves. This sounds like a theory, but scientists have actually watched it happen. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev began an experiment in Siberia. He took silver foxes, wild, aggressive, fearful of humans, and did something remarkably simple. Each generation, he selected only the calmest individuals for breeding. He didn't train them, didn't reward tricks, just selected for temperament. That's it. Within 40 years, the foxes had transformed. They wagged their tails. They sought human contact. They whined when people left the room. But the behavior wasn't even the strangest part. Their bodies changed too. Ears went floppy, snouts shortened, fur developed white patches, tails curled upward. In selecting purely for calmness, Belyaev had accidentally recreated the physical appearance of domestication. Softer features, rounder faces, the look of something that belonged beside humans rather than apart from them. The ancient wolves near human camps almost certainly followed the same path. Calmer personalities, then softer appearances, slightly smaller, slightly less threatening. Not pets yet, but no longer fully wild either, and humans noticed, not the evolution. They couldn't see that. But they noticed what these calmer, closer wolves actually did. Wolves hear things humans can't. They smell predators from distances that seem almost supernatural. They react to approaching danger minutes before any human senses it. A semi-tame wolf hanging around camp was, functionally, a living alarm system. If a bear approached from downwind, the wolf reacted first. If rival humans moved through the forest at night, the wolf knew. If prey animals were within striking distance of a morning hunt, the wolf had already located them. Humans with wolves near their camps were safer. They hunted more successfully. Their children survived more often, so humans started leaving more scraps deliberately. The wolves stayed closer. Both species slowly began to trust the arrangement. And over thousands of years, that arrangement became something neither species could fully live without. This is why dogs hold a completely unique position in human history. They were domesticated before sheep, before goats, before cattle, before farming itself. Dogs were alongside humans before the invention of writing, before the first city, before metal tools, before the pyramids existed as anything other than a flat piece of desert. When humans eventually settled and began farming, dogs adapted again. As human diets shifted toward grain and starch, dogs gradually evolved the ability to digest starch far more efficiently than wolves. They didn't just follow humans. They changed themselves biologically to stay useful to us, and then something happened that no one predicted. The relationship stopped being purely practical. When a human looks into a dog's eyes, both species release oxytocin, the same neurochemical central to bonding between parents and infants. This doesn't happen with wolves. It doesn't happen reliably with any other domesticated animal. It happens specifically with dogs because dogs evolved it. Over thousands of generations, the individuals that formed genuine emotional bonds with humans survived better, were fed better, were kept closer, were protected. Dogs didn't just learn to tolerate humans. They evolved to emotionally connect with us. Those famous soft eyes, the ones that make you feel guilty for leaving the house, are not an accident. They're the result of tens of thousands of years of dogs learning, at a genetic level, exactly how to reach a human heart. Certain facial muscles that wolves completely lack became more developed in dogs, specifically because humans responded to them. Evolution shaped the dog's face to speak a language the human brain was already wired to receive. Some anthropologists believe dogs improved human hunting so significantly that groups with dogs simply outcompeted groups without them. That dogs may have helped humans spread across entire continents. That the partnership was so effective, so asymmetrically beneficial to both sides, that it changed the trajectory of our species. But domestication cost dogs something too. The wolf is still inside them. When a dog circles before lying down, it may be echoing ancient wolves flattening grass before sleep. When they twitch and whimper in dreams, something from 30,000 years ago is still running. When a dog buries food in the garden, it's following instincts older than civilization itself. And yet, modern breeding has pushed many dogs into suffering. Pugs that struggle to breathe, dachshunds with collapsing spines, bulldogs that cannot give birth without surgical help. We took the accident of domestication and then continued engineering it, often without mercy. In Germany, archaeologists found a grave dating to around 14,000 years ago. Inside, a man, a woman, and a dog buried carefully together. The dog's bones showed it had survived a severe illness as a puppy, the kind of illness that, in the wild, would have meant death. It survived because someone fed it, someone tended to it. Someone decided that keeping this animal alive was worth the cost during one of the harshest periods in human history. That is not utility. That is not strategy. That is someone who didn't want their dog to die. For tens of thousands of years, across frozen tundra and open grasslands and ancient forests, humans and dogs have been beside each other. Not because anyone chose it, not because anyone planned it. Because a few wolves, hungrier and slightly calmer than the rest, crept a little closer to a fire one night, and something began. Tonight, your dog will fall asleep near you, and neither of you will think about how strange that is. But somewhere beneath that familiar, ordinary warmth is one of the longest accidents in the history of life on this planet. It started with scraps. It became something that, 40,000 years later, still doesn't have a better word than love.